Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down my Week number 10 tight end start or sit decisions for every single matchup of Week 10, going from Thursday Night Football all the way up until Monday Night Football, telling you guys what I believe you should start or sit the tight ends in all games. But before we get gotten into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter or X, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. So without further ado, let's get into my Week number 10 tight end start or sit decisions for the 2024 fantasy football season. We begin with Thursday Night Football, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens, an AFC North division rivalry matchup. And in this spot, I love both of the tight ends. Now, Mike Gesicki, with Eric All done for the season, Mike Gesicki is now in the driver's seat as the clear tight end number one on the team. Last week, he had the Raiders defense feeling like my stepsister when she gets stuck in the washing machine, the way that the Las Vegas Raiders got fucked by Mike Gesicki. 5 receptions on 6 targets for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. While it is very unlikely that he is able to put up that level of success yet again, a top 10 finish is definitely in the cards. I got him ranked confidently inside the top 10, as I believe this game could really be a high-scoring tit-for-tat back-and-forth affair, and Mike Licky on my Gesicki could find his way on into the end zone. Mark Andrews' reign of terror from week 6 through 8 came to a close last week, as he was the tight end 31 with just 2 catches for 26 yards, though this was a game where the Ravens blew the doors off of the Broncos. Assuming that this game is a lot closer, Andrews should be able to get back to his top 12 ways up against a Bengals defense that is no bueno. So just like Gesicki, I got Andrews ranked very competently inside of the top 10 in the tight end 8 to 10 range. Next up, we move to the game in Germany, the New York Football Giants at the Carolina Panthers. Now, Theo Johnson got dirty last week up against the Commanders with his first touchdown ever in his young career. Nice round of applause for Theo. He was the tight end 8 with 3 receptions for 51 yards on 6 targets. Now, he's currently dealing with a knee/back injury and was limited in practice on Wednesday. I have been someone that has talked up Theo Johnson in the past, and I'm going to continue to do so. But until he starts seeing 5+ targets at a reliable rate, he will not be a start for me until he actually does so, right? He has seen just 5 or more targets twice this season. I don't feel confident enough just yet banging the drum for him, but I do think if he's able to get a reliable amount of targets, even with Daniel Jones under center, then I do believe Theo Johnson has the upside to excel this season. Now, Jatavion Colonel Sanders is another guy that is a talented rookie tight end, just like Theo Johnson, who clearly has upside at the NFL level. Last week, he had 4 receptions on 5 targets for 87 yards up against the Saints. But here I share the exact same sentiment we just discussed with Theo Johnson. Until Sanders is reliably involved, we shouldn't hop onto the bandwagon just yet, so I would leave him on waivers. Next up, we got game number 3, the New England Patriots at the Chicago Bears. The first game on Sunday where everyone's going to be watching, because ain't nobody got time to wake up at like 9 a.m. to watch the Giants versus the Panthers. So the Patriots at the Chicago Bears. Now, when Drake May has been under center and played the whole game, Hunter Henry has been a top 12 tight end in every single game. Last week in Tennessee, he was the tight end 11 with 6 receptions on 8 targets for 56 yards. Henry has always been drugged down by the quarterback play in New England, and now we are starting to see the Henry that had Mr. 72,000 kids, Phillip Rivers, throwing him the rock. With his production being so strong, I definitely believe you need to have him ranked inside the top 12, and I got him as a low-end tight end number 1. Now, Cole Kmet, the amount of targets that a tight end that is as skilled as Kmet gets per week should be high, right? If you're a skilled tight end, they should be utilizing you. But for Komet, it is a roller coaster ride every single week. We have seen a game where this bastard had 11 targets, and we've seen a game with 0 and 2 games with just 1 target. This is the type of tight end that you just cannot rely on. The matchup here isn't even mouth-watering enough for me to sit here and really talk him up. If you have to start him, the upside is clear. The upside is very, very high. He could be the tight end number 1, but with the floor being in the basement, I can't be confident enough to tout him as a start, so we're going to mark him as a sit. Next up, we move to the no one circles the wagons at the Buffalo Bills, like the Buffalo Bills, at the this is our Colts, this is our team, we bleed blue, the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Mo Money, Mo Cox is in a threesome at the tight end position. And normally, when you got a threesome with some tight ends, it's very fun. But in Indianapolis, that is not the case. Cox struggles to see over a target in most games, and none of them are the clear number 1 tight end on the team. They're basically like the tight end 1A, 1B, and 1C, so there is clear reason to stay away here. For Dalton Kincaid, even with Kincaid getting fed like Nico Avocado with 6 or more targets in 6 straight games, and the man had 10 targets last week, he has yet to truly produce a great game. It feels like we are on the brink of an explosion, like Kincaid has been edging for hours, especially since the Colts defense is incredibly soft. I got Kincaid as a fringe top 8 guy. Might knock him down to 9 or 10, depending on how mad I am at him when I lock my rankings in. So he's definitely going to be a top 10 tight end, though. Next up, we got the Denver Broncos at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Kelsey has truly turned back the clock as of recently. Kelsey went from looking like a colossal bust based upon where you drafted him to being a staple top 5 tight end weekly ever since week 4. Outside of his tight end 29 showing up against the 49ers in week 7, he has been the tight end 3, 5, 3, and 2 over that span. Last week, the guy had 14 catches on 16 targets for 100 yards up against the Buccaneers, even with the Broncos defense being top 10 in terms of allowing the least amount of fantasy points per game to the tight end position. You would be silly to rank Kelsey outside the top 3, and I have Kelsey ranked as my tight end number 1. Now, Troutman and Lucas Krull share the tight end load like their names were Lisa Ann and Phoenix Marie, with neither guy strongly targeted or used ahead of one or the other. Even against the Chiefs defense that allows the most amount of points per game to the tight end position, you can't play either of these Broncos. Next up, we move to the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. Now, Kyle Pitts is dealing with a hamstring injury, but based upon the research that I've done in my lab, like my name was Dexter, I found that he should be good to go on Sunday. Pitts had just 1 catch for 11 yards last week up against Dallas for his worst game in over a month. Assuming that he is good to go, Pitts should be a top 12 tight end, as he has been a safe condom wrap around your tight end position outside of last week, so I feel very confident in ranking him in the lower end range of the top 8 tight ends. Taysom Hill is basically like spinning the mystery box in Call of Duty Zombies. Sometimes you're going to hit the box and you get the ray gun or you get the thunder gun, right? And you damn near blow a load in your pants with excitement, right? But other times you hit the box and you get a sniper rifle that is just frankly not useful at all, or like a pistol. Unless it's Mustang and Sally, right? You ain't getting anything and you have to pack a punch to get that. So when you open the box, sometimes you get some greatness. Sometimes you get screwed, right? It's like Schrodinger's cat, right? Sometimes the cat's dead, sometimes the cat's alive, right? And when you play Taysom Hill, you're hoping that Taysom Hill is able to flourish. But there's never really a happy medium with Taysom. It's either balls to the wall production as a top 5 tight end, or so bad you don't even get 5 fucking points. Against the Falcons defense, I could see him completing the triple crown of, hey, he throws a pass, he catches a pass, and he runs the rock. He is about as safe as not using a condom when she's fertile, but ultimately, I think if you want to live on the edge, you can start him, and I have him ranked as a high-end tight end number 2 that might end up being ranked inside of the top 12. Next up, we got game number 7, the San Francisco 49ers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Kittle has been the most consistent tight end in fantasy football this season, which is the exact opposite of what he was in his whole entire career, where he was straight up hit or miss. I guess they never miss, huh? 7 games played with 7 top 11 finishes, and with 5 games inside of the top 4. And 1 finish as the tight end number 1. The Buccaneers defense is Charmin ultra soft, allowing the 3rd most amount of points on a per game basis to the tight end position. And with Kelsey just smacking him like a fucking whack-a-mole last week, Kittle is a clear top 3 tight end, and I got him as my tight end number 2. Cade Otton dropped his drawers and let the defense see his 3rd leg last week like his name was Greg Olsen. 3 straight games inside the top 3 as Cade Otton has become a superhero. He's put the cape on without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. 3 straight games with 10 or more targets and 3 total touchdowns over that run. The 49ers defense is relatively middle of the road up against tight ends, but at this point in the season, Otton is more of a receiver than he is a tight end. He will likely lead the team in terms of receptions again, and I love Cade Otton here as my tight end number 4. Next up, we move to the Pittsburgh Steelers at the left. Hands up. Who are we? The Commanders. Now, Zach Ertz played a season-low 48% of snaps last week, and I would expect that to increase here up against the Steelers, who are kind of middle of the pack against the tight end position. Ertz is a fine tight end number 2, and outside of last week, he was a top 12 tight end in 3 straight games. Now, his tight end ability to be used in the red zone really isn't the highest. It was a lot higher back in Philadelphia, right? He's not this crazy red zone threat. I would say his touchdown ability is pretty limited, but I do got him ranked as a lower end tight end number 2 start. For Freiermuth, things have turned for the worse for him with Mr. Unlimited under center. Freiermuth is a better player than his production will tell you, but with 3 or fewer targets in 4 straight games, no need to even remotely want to start him. Next up, we got the cold like Minnesota Vikings at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Hawkinson last week returned from his injury last year to play just 45% of the snaps with 3 receptions on 4 targets for 27 yards up against the Colts. The expectation should be that as he plays more games, the snaps will continue to increase. Against the Jaguars defense that gets put on the casting couch weekly, Hawk could be a top 5 tight end. But you need to understand, though, that he probably will not play a full allotment of snaps, and the upside is diminished slightly by that. He's still a great player. He's one of the best tight ends in the NFL, but I would get very, very worried about getting too optimistic and ranking him too high. So he's a low-end tight end 1 to a high-end tight end 2 in my tight end rankings this week. Now, Evan Ingram is very safe, right? He's basically a lock to be a top 12 tight end every single week. He is one of the most consistent tight ends in the game when healthy, which hasn't really been the case this season. But even with the Jaguars offense being far from ideal, he will get 5 targets every single game, and he's had 2 of 5 games with 10 targets, so Ingram belongs inside of the top 8 at the tight end position. Before we break down this game some more and the rest of the games on the slate for week 10, I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friends and our partner over at Underdog. If you're brand new to Underdog and sign up using promo code Notorious, you'll be able to claim your free pick, which tonight is Lamar Jackson higher than half of a total yard, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash, so you match that pick with any other player playing in the NFL this week, not on the Ravens. And if both of your picks hit, you will get 3 times what you put into your pick'em. If you do multiple other picks, they all have to hit, but the payout will be higher. You will also get that first time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. If you're watching this after Thursday Night Football already kicked off and you sign up with promo code Notorious, your free pick will either be an NBA player higher than half a total point or an NFL player higher than half of a total yard. So make sure you guys check that out. Link in the video description, promo code Notorious to get your free pick, plus a first time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So next game we move to here is game number 10, the Tennessee Titans at the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this is a game that could end up being kind of interesting, But in terms of the tight end position, this is one of the most boring games we've got, right? Chig, even with the offense looking better as of recently for the Titans, he just hasn't done anything this season. 0 games with over 10 fantasy points, and even without DeAndre Hopkins, there's no reason to even consider starting him. Will Dissly has seen a solid uptick in production with the offense throwing the ball a lot more compared to earlier on in the season, and he has always been a guy that is a talented player, right? We know Dissly's a solid tight end, but even with that, the uptick in playing, the targets are just too unreliable to start him. Next up, we move to the Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, even without Dak Prescott, we know that Jake Ferguson is a focal point in this offense and will be fed targets. We also know that Cooper Rush, that'd be an even better name than Cooper Rush, Cooper Rush isn't even all that bad. No one's going to sit here and massage the guy's testicles like his name was Deshaun Watson and oogle and ogle over Cooper Rush. But he's going to be fine, and if Ferguson is able to get his usual 6+ targets, he should have a top 12 finish, but he is definitely in the lower end of the tight end 1 spectrum. For Dallas Goedert, he was back at practice yesterday and is tracking to return on Sunday. He has missed the prior 3 games with a hamstring injury, but even with Smith and Brown in the lineup, Dallas has some upside. Again, is it the most upside? Of course not, because the touchdowns are going to get taken away from Mr. Hurts, Saquon, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. But if you have to start him, he's a fine desperation start. Next up, we got the Jets at the Arizona Cardinals. The final game before we head on into the night games, we got the New York Jumbo Jets at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Conklin has been benched due to the fact in fantasy that Devontae Adams is in town because there's only enough room for one of them there, right? Obviously, the upgrade to the offense does make it easier for Tyler Conklin to find the end zone, but with just about 3 to 4 targets a game, the touchdown is much less likely to come his way if you're only getting 3 to 4 fucking targets. And even if you do score the touchdown, it's not even a guarantee that you score 10 points. So I definitely would not be starting him anymore. Despite the up and down nature of the Arizona Cardinals offense, Trey McBride has actually been very reliable. He isn't a lock by any means to finish inside the top 5 weekly at the position, but he has been a very reliable top 12 option. Last week, he went 3 of 4 for 35 yards as the tight end 10. Prior to last week, though, he was a 6 or more target guy every single game. The Jets defense is solid up against the tight end, but ultimately Trey McBride is Trey McBride. He's one of the few tight ends in the NFL that really sees a metric fuck ton of usage weekly. So you're definitely going to want to slot him in inside the top 6. Next up, we move to "Cause You Waited All Day for Sunday Night," the Detroit Lions at the Houston Texans. Now, Sam Laporta has me wishing I could go back in time, Men in Black style, and stop myself from drafting this poor bastard. He has been so bad this year. He has had more than 3 targets just twice this season. The Texans are also the best team against the tight end in terms of points per game. I have him ranked as a desperation tight end 2 start. The sophomore slump has been unreal. He's basically sleeping at the wheel right now. Dalton Schultz, even with Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, sleeping with the fishes. Schultz can't do anything. CJ Stroud has been the commander of the struggle bus recently, so even in the greatest of matchups, you can't play him. And this is one of the toughest matchups for tight ends in fantasy football, so don't touch Schultz. Stay away from him like he's got the cheese touch. Final game here, Monday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. The Miami Dolphins at the Los Angeles Rams. Now, with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back, there are more holes in the Kobe Parkinson ship now than ever, and the water is pouring out the boat. Kobe had 0 targets last week and will probably now peak at just about 3. With the Dolphins defense being top 8 in terms of the lowest amount of points allowed per game to the tight end position, there is no need to play or even roster Kobe Parkinson. Jonnu Smith has had 6 or more targets in 3 straight starts with Tua Tagovailoa as the lead signal caller. Jonnu is a fine tight end 2, tight end streamer option. But if you're going to expect anything more than like 10 fucking fantasy points, you are going to set yourself up for disappointment. The matchup here is great, so he should be able to do that for you. I've got him in the tight end 15 to 18 range. So thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button down below like it owes you some money. Leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter or X, please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. Make sure you guys check out Underdog. Promo code Notorious to get your free pick, plus a first time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Check out one of the videos on your screen if you haven't seen them already. Love you a long time. Have a great one. As always, good boy.